everyone, and hello, happy Wednesday. This is Be a Warrior podcast, and I'm so grateful that you are here. Yes, I am posting a little bit later than normal, but take heart. I am here, and I have not forgotten that it is time to post. If you have been listening, thank you for being an avid listener or watcher if you're on YouTube. This week, what I was thinking about was the idea of anticipation. Yesterday was my birthday, and I was anticipating my birthday. And we have the holidays coming up, and people anticipate with great joy and excitement the holidays that are coming. And for those of us that are Christian, what the anticipation of Christmas means to us and the anticipation of the birth of Jesus. So with that being said, tying it all together with the holidays coming, with my birthday having just passed, I thought we could talk a little bit about anticipation and what to expect. I have discussed this many episodes ago, how expectations need to be monitored. But here, let's talk about this really quick. I looked up anticipation on a Google dictionary. Anticipation is an expectation or a prediction. So yeah, when we know something is coming, and that was the other excitement, waiting eagerly for something you know is going to happen. For me, I was eager and excited in a weird way, the anticipation of my amputation. So I knew in September of 2018 that in December of 2018, I was going to have an amputation. And there was anticipation. I wouldn't say it was all excitement, but I think excitement can go both ways. It can be exciting in a good, positive way, and it can be exciting in a nervous, anxiety kind of way. And there was definitely moments of both ravaging my body at the time. And my mind was all over the place. I knew no one who was an amputee. I had no friends. I had no acquaintances. Didn't even realize there were Facebook groups for things like that. So I didn't have any. But I also will say, with a grain of salt, I wasn't looking for somebody else's journey, because I didn't want someone else's journey to define my journey. And that's a valuable lesson, because yes, it can bring a positive calm about you if you're like, okay, see, people are doing it and their life is good. And then it could also bring a jealousy and a comparison when what you measure yourself up to doesn't live up to that expectation. So for me, I kept a clean slate. The only person that I had conversation with that was an amputee before mine was my to-be prosthetist assistant, who is an amputee himself. And I was talking to him just about my fears and the things that I was worried about, because with my incident back in 2013 and all the surgeries I had, I was hyper scarring, and basically that's what screwed up my knee so bad that nothing could help it except amputation. And I was really worried that if I had an amputation, what if I scarred so bad that it was so painful I couldn't wear a socket? So we talked a little bit about that and everything, but when I came to reality and to grips with my new reality that was about to come, I started anticipating the endless possibilities of a brand new journey, a brand new life. Things that I wasn't able to do the last 5 years, because that was putting me into a depression, because the things that I couldn't do that I used to be able to do were so many that I thought there's only up from here, because I wasn't living, I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't even walk to our mailbox and back without ripping up scar tissue and being in excruciating pain because of that. So anticipation is a very good thing. Anticipation is an excitement for what's to come. What I did say is that when I did come to an acceptance to it, and I started to see the positives that could come, not knowing still, the things that I noticed, and what I noticed when I started researching anticipation, this was interesting. There was a study that has shown that goal setting and positive anticipation prevents our stress levels from skyrocketing. So that's great because God only knows the stress levels of knowing an amputation is coming. You say the word amputation anymore and it's not a big deal. But when you think of the actual act of amputation, it can churn your stomach and it can make you feel sick because that isn't normal. And it's not like, to think that you're choosing to do that is absolutely crazy. Now, I know there are a lot of you out there that is not the case. You had an accident, you were in a coma, you had disease, and that it really wasn't an option. It just had to happen. Some of you knew it was coming, and then there are some of you that I have met that literally woke up in the hospital and your leg was gone. So I get that there's that aspect too. But flip that now. You are an amputee, and now there's the anticipation of what is to come. And for those of you that had no plans for an amputation, you don't know what is possible. You didn't research what you needed to do next and what ifs and what could I do and what are my new goals in life, because things do change. You're not going to be right back to where you were. You will have to make adjustments. And for me, my whole life went a completely different direction. Yeah, my life and home, that's all the same. But what I wanted to do, what I felt that fulfilled me, were things like this podcast and maybe giving a glimpse or a glimmer of hope to someone that's struggling. And I felt that I owed that was my new direction, my new calling, if you will. And I'm the kind of person that wants to live with purpose. Like, I need to find a purpose every morning when I wake up. And I bet most of you do too. Like, what is your purpose now as an amputee? Or, for those of you that are just maybe sick and you're dealing with something, you're a parent, you're a spouse, whatever, you have always that purpose. My purpose is to be the best spouse I can be for my husband. The purpose is to be the most engaged mom and help when I can and let go when I need to. But as an individual, I had to find my purpose. So now we look at the expectations. Now, whether you knew you were having the amputation, or it was all planned, or it was not planned, you now have a certain set of expectations. And I will tell you right now, throw them out the window. And if you ask one or even two or even 5, 10 people what their journey has been like, yours will be nothing like it. It'll have a similar skeletal outline, like you amputate, then you heal, then you get fitted for a socket, and you get a prosthetic made for you. And then you get that, you try to learn to walk, you go to PT for that, and then hopefully you're on your way. The problem is things like wound care might come in, an infection. You might really struggle with balance and control. You might struggle with being nervous about and fearful of letting go and really walking, so you have that holding you back. And some people, you might have a guideline from your doctor that after this many weeks, we'll take the staples out and then you can start moving forward. Mine end up going about 2 weeks longer or a week longer than he had expected, just to make sure I healed completely, because you sure don't want to put a socket on and start doing that process and have your wound open. And, I know some people that had to go right back in and have revision. No one told me that maybe a year after I could actually have a neuroma and have to be reopened. And that's what happened with me. At 1 year of doing all the things I wanted to do that first year, I had to get pulled back, leg off, and I had to have 2 incisions, one very large in the back of my leg, the whole hamstring, to get a neuroma that was symptomatic out so that I could walk again, because the pain was so much. No one told me that that was a possibility. I had never even heard of TMR until I went to my orthopedic surgeon and said, I think I have a neuroma. He scheduled the MRI. He said, yep, you have a neuroma, and I would suggest you go to a plastic surgeon for TMR surgery. That way it won't grow back. So there was a lot of learning, even though I had done due diligence in 4 months, knowing it was coming, and I still was learning. So what I would tell you is to bring your stress levels down, think positively. In a world where the bionics and the structures and the things that are coming out is as quick as new iPhones, being an amputee is no longer a deficit as much as it is a thrill ride. Um, it definitely has been a thrill ride for me, never knowing what's going to come next, never knowing who I'm going to meet, the experiences I'll have. It's all so new, so exciting that you will be able to get back to where you want to be with the concession that you understand it will not be exactly the same. You will never feel the same way not having your real leg that you were born with and having something added to you. It is different. But I can tell you that mindset matters, that when you think positively about what could be, and take the positive mindset on that, and you start goal setting, you will be very surprised on how life will continue. Not be a hazard, not being a setback, but just different. So I never think about being an amputee as a disability or something that is hindering me. I think of it as a way to experience life completely different. And it is, for me, a second chance at doing things. It is new life. It is rebirth. It is whatever you want to call it. But it is a second chance. And I will tell you, when you embrace it that way, the experiences that you will have, the people that you will meet, the people you will impact, even if they don't tell you, you are impacting others. Anybody that comes across you and sees you, your world will be completely filled. I know that your heart will be filled, your bucket will be filled, whatever, however you want to call it. You will find great joy in becoming an amputee when you embrace that. And you embrace the fact that no two journeys are the same, and that if your expectations are too high, for example, I think the biggest thing that I have heard talking to prosthetists, and mine especially, is that when people come in expecting life to be just handed right back to them and they're walking out the door with a brand new leg, they are sadly mistaken. And then that is when things get ugly, because they are expecting to resume life the moment they get their prosthetic. I think even the general population sees people now, because there's so many very active amputees, that it's really easy. You just, okay, you get through the healing. That's the hard part, right? And then you get your leg and you go. That is not the case. So please be wise to what's happening. Do the research on that respect and know that you will get there on your timeline. Whatever it is that your journey means, whatever underlies your medical conditions. Like, I had no medical conditions, so I healed well and I moved on well. I'm also very type A, and I've always done sports and athletic things and been very strong, kept my strength up, had good balance, things like that. Those things all aided in me being able to resume life quickly. But that doesn't mean it won't happen for you. It just may not be as quick as some people. You might take a couple years to really trust your process and trust the prosthesis. And if that's the case, that is your journey. It is not a negative. It is not that you're not doing the right things or doing it well or dedicated enough. It is just, that is your journey. And so when you go in with the right expectations that, hey, I'm going to get there. And I know it's going to be a process. I know it's going to be tough. There are going to be days where you're going to want to cry. There's going to be days you want to scream. There are days that scare you, and there are days that excite you because of the strides you've made. But like any learning experience, every step forward can be accompanied shortly thereafter with 2 steps back. But with the steps back, we learn and we grow further. You can't keep leaping forward. you will find yourself being drawn back. Mine example was the TMR surgery. I was doing well. I was hitting my goals. I had lots of goals set for the first 12 months. And then literally at month 14, they're like, you have a huge neuroma. You can leave it and deal with the pain and see what happens. But I knew my quality of life was going to go back down, and I was done with pain. As much as I was done with surgery, I was done with pain. Or you could go in, have surgery, have 4 weeks step back and not wear your prosthesis while you are healing again, and then do that again. And I chose that, and I was not happy at first, but I knew 4 weeks versus years of pain again was so much more tangible and delectable than having to deal with pain until I couldn't stand it any longer and realized that I was sitting around my house doing nothing again. I had done that for 5 years. I didn't want that again. But the 4 weeks that I was out gave me time to be silly, reevaluate, recreate new goals, and set my anticipation positively for what was to come if there were no more pains in the back of my leg. And that's what happened. As soon as I put it on, yeah, it was sensitive. The skin was sensitive, and it was a little painful putting on and off my socket. But as I went on, I'm stronger for it. And you know what? That neuroma hasn't bothered me. It's gone. So it was well worth the 4 weeks of being pulled backwards after very positive momentum forward. So you just need to keep that in mind. Being an amputee is filled with forward motion and backward motion, forward motion and backward motion. And that is just the game you must play. You won't know what you don't know until you experience it. And no matter what anybody tells you, without knowing what amputee life is like, you can only experience it once you experience it for yourself. Now, for those of you that have been watching, I was in my book again, How to Walk by Thich Nhat Hanh, and I thought this was interesting. I really wanted to read this, so if you will give me the moment here to read this one calling Taking Care of the Future. I thought it tied in well. It says here, there are those of us who are prisoners of the future, right? We think about what we want to have happen and what we see others experiencing as amputees, and that's where you want to be, and that's your goal, okay? And when it doesn't happen, there's anguish, and there's anxiety and anger and frustration and devastation and negative thoughts and comments hitting us with depression. We don't know what will happen, but we worry so much that the future becomes a kind of prison. And I was there the first couple months after I chose amputation. The turmoil within me was so great. It was a prison. I don't remember those 4 months except all the fears and anxieties that I was feeling until I accepted my future. And it was a prison. Like I don't even remember those 4 months. All I know, and that was through the holidays. I don't remember that Thanksgiving prior to amputation or my birthday or thinking that this was the last time I was celebrating my birthday as a two-legger. I didn't think any of those. I was just worried about the future and what this looked like, what I looked like physically and emotionally as an amputee. The real future is made only of one substance, and that is the present. What else can the future be made of? If we know how to take care of the present moment the best we can, that's all we can do to assure ourselves a good future. We build the future by taking care of the present moment. Taking care of the present moment includes mindful breathing, enjoying your in-breath and out-breath. With each step you arrive in the future you are making. Make it a future of peace and compassion. And I would add positivity. Coming to grips, even if you were hit side on like car accident and you woke up as an amputee, your future begins now with how you embrace the moment. And a lot of people that have gone through that I have seen, and I can only speak from what I hear, they struggle because they live in the past, because they can't let go of the wrong that has been done to them. And I completely can understand that and be compassionate to that. The problem is I can tell you that if you don't let go of what happened, you won't be able to embrace the moment and move forward into a positive future. Once you do, and that's not saying that whatever the wrong person did to you isn't wrong. Remember when people say forgiveness isn't about forgiving the act that was done against you, it is about letting go of that and not giving it power to your life and your future. So once you can get rid of that negativity, you can start embracing today, this moment, and what I do today braces me for my future. Every moment I do something today that's good, my future looks brighter. When I start setting goals and breathing well and taking time for myself and moving in the right direction, my future is being set forth for me. I am manifesting, as my kids will laugh about that, but I am manifesting what I want my future to look like. So when we do this, our expectations can't be so high that we could never possibly reach them, but we don't want to have them so low that we have no goals, that the stress level is beyond us. Remember, the study shows that a goal setting and positive anticipation of our future will reduce our stress. And I can tell you right now that stress will do nothing to help your process and your journey. It'll only hinder it. So get out there, start goal setting. I mean, I can't tell you how many of my podcasts have talked about goal setting and mindset. I mean, that's truly 90% of it. You know, of course, if you have other underlying health issues, you have to deal with those. But that doesn't mean you can't stay in a positive place moving forward, accepting where you're at, who you are, and what your journey looks like compared to Joe and Mike and Sue on the other side of the world. Don't worry about them. Only embrace yours. And what your journey looks like is special to you. When we embrace our own journey and stop comparing ourselves to another's or comparing what we think in our mind it should be, we can then embrace every hiccup that comes our way, and there will be a lot of them. As an amputee, the first, I would say, 3 years expected to be the roller coaster of your life. It is up and down, it's backwards, it's forwards, it never makes sense. The moment you feel like it's good, it goes south. That is true to form for every amputee I've ever spoken to. And when we understand that, we are ready to roll with those punches, right? You don't get into a boxing ring with a boxer and hope he doesn't swing at you. He's going to. If you anticipate that it's going to happen, you can roll with those punches and move with them instead of pushing against them and fighting it. So with your expectations, understand that the first few years are tough, but you're good. You're well worth it, and you're priceless, and you're a warrior. Remember, that is the reason why I created this podcast, to let you remind you that you are a warrior, to let you know you are a warrior. We are all built with that grit within us. We just have to dig deep enough. And I will tell you right now that going through amputation has definitely helped me find my inner warrior, to help me fight for what I want. If you want it bad enough, you fight for it. You rise up when it gets the hardest, and you shine when it looks like you couldn't shine anymore. And it will happen for you. So call to action. Have your expectations in check. Do research. Find people you can talk to that have gone through amputation. Not just one, because I spoke to 2 prior to mine, besides my prosthetist office. One was completely positive and she was kicking butt. And I was like, yes, that will be me. I want that. And I paid attention to her language, her body language, her verbal language, and what she did. And I asked, what is it that she did? And she said, I goal set. And I goal set with specific deadlines. I didn't just put something out there like someday I will walk. It was, I'm going to be walking by this date, you know? And yes, that can be a struggle, but it also helps you get there. And it's a mindset. Literally 30 minutes later, a different lady walked in, and it was the most negative perspective I've ever had on being an amputee. And she couldn't believe I was choosing that path. Why would I do that to myself? You're better off the way you are. Keeping in mind, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. So that means I couldn't bike ride. I couldn't hike. I couldn't ski. I couldn't do anything with my family except sit on a couch. That was better. And I'll tell you right now, she was wrong. But if I had only seen that one person, I may have not done my amputation, and that would have been a shame because I wouldn't have met the beautiful people I have met. I wouldn't have had the experiences that I've had, and I wouldn't have grown as much as I have grown in my faith and in myself. So take people's comments with a grain of salt and don't just go with one person's perspective. Talk to people. Don't look at their Instagram account because they're only showing you their best. They are not telling you about the hardships. You need reality so that you know what's coming and you can roll with the punches. So get out, do your research, find people you can connect with, and know that you aren't alone on this journey. That if you are feeling like, of course this is happening to me, look at everybody else doing well. Everyone else has been there. I have been laid out before. I have walked my hallways crying in pain on days where phantom pain has skyrocketed. It happens to everyone. So you're not alone, but you are a warrior and you need to believe that in yourself. Goal set, research, find people to talk to. The best people to talk to are people that will tell you the honest truth, the ups and downs, and yet you see them succeeding today. So get out there, do the due diligence, manage your expectations, set the goals, set your bar high, but know that there will be bumps down the road that will set you back, but it's just preparing you to propel you forward. That is your call to action. Get out there, warriors, get going, and know that you are great and you are amazing and you are going to succeed at this. Don't ever give up. I love you guys. I thank you for being on this podcast. Please share this with people that you know that might need some positivity and are struggling with their expectations right now. And until next time, and as always, be healthy, be happy, be you.